Hey everyone, well today as promised we'll be following on looking at the new Wave 2 Armada Imperial Star Destroyer by looking at the Wave 2 Armada MC80 cruiser, the Rebels' first large ship. As you can see, compared to the other larger Rebel ship, well, it's medium but larger, the assault frigate, the MC80 is quite a bit bigger. In fact, when you put it next to it, the MC80 is actually about the same length as the Imperial Star Destroyer, but obviously it's a lot skinnier, it's a lot smaller. In fact, when you put it next to the assault frigate, the assault frigate's actually wider. So I'm not sure in terms of the lore how that really sort of stacks up, but it does make the assault frigate look quite big in comparison. So the model itself, yeah, it's not bad. My biggest sort of gripe with it is all of these little command sort of pods that have just sort of been put on here, and they don't necessarily seem to be particularly highly detailed, and they look like they haven't had any sort of wash paint applied to them either, so they do sort of stick out quite a bit compared to the rest of the hull. So that's definitely something that I'll be looking at, doing a bit of aftermarket painting, just sort of try and blend them in a bit more. In terms of the patchwork sort of colour of the hull, it is quite different to sort of the on-screen effect that you sort of see. I sort of thought they were more sort of grey, and I'm tempted to repaint mine that sort of colour. But I can also see how, with all the Imperials being a very grey fleet, how FFG might be trying to keep the Rebel palette, you know, a bit lighter, so that they're a bit more discernible to people who maybe aren't so much fans that they recognise them iconically. The back of the ship with obviously the engine glow. And not much really notable on the underside. It's nice that things like the docking ports, they are actually hollowed out a reasonable distance, so they do give that real sense of three-dimensional, as if you could actually have fighters sort of flying in and out of there. So on to what else you get in the pack. You get the two ship cards, they're two variations, the Command Cruiser for 106 points, and the Assault Cruiser for 114 points. So they're both pretty similar. They both have a brace, 2 to redirects, and one of the new defense tokens, and evade. Sorry, a contain, which allows you to cancel a default critical effect to avoid taking that face-up damage card. As I said in the Imperial Star Destroyer review, it'll be really interesting to see that happen, how that happens, or how effective it is, because of the fact that, you know, say you go up against a Gladiator with assault concussion missiles, which has been quite a popular combo, the contain does not work against upgrade card critical effects, only against the standard face-up damage cards. So if you come up against ships with lots of upgrade cards giving them critical effects, then I don't know whether it will see much use. So a little bit of a difference in the two stats. They both have 3 command. The Command Cruiser has a 4 for the squadron and a 4 for the engineering. But like the Assault Frigate, it's the cheaper version that actually is better for squadrons, whereas the Assault Cruiser trades in some of that squadron support. It's only got 3, but it does get the extra dice on the broadsides. It's got the 4 red dice as opposed to 3 red dice, just like the Assault Frigate gets a bit of extra firepower on the more expensive version. The speed chart, you notice actually they are the slowest Rebel ship out there. They can only go speed 2. I have heard some people talking about using engine techs with them, but obviously to use engine techs you have to be spending a nav command or nav token to do so. And this could be where someone like Ramus Antilles could come in really handy on an MC80 perhaps, because he gives you a free token when you plot a command. So it means you'd have to plot a nav command every second turn in order to be able to use engine techs every turn. In terms of the upgrade slots, they both have turbo lasers, they both have ion cannons. The command cruiser has a defensive and an offensive upgrade slot, and the assault cruiser has 2 defensive slots. So it means on the assault cruiser you can take ECM and advanced projectors. You don't have to choose anymore. There's also the team slot there and a personnel slot. In terms of what else you get with the ship in terms of upgrade cards, you get Admiral Akbar. Before a friendly ship's attack step, it may choose to attack from only its left and right hull zones this round. If it does, it may add 2 red dice to its attack pool while attacking a ship. So there's a little bit of debate on Akbar at the moment as to whether that means that you just don't attack from the front or rear and you get the extra dice even if you only use 1 hull zone, or whether it means you have to shoot from your left and right hull zone. FFG has said that they are clarifying it, so we're hopefully going to get a response on that pretty soon. But I'd be very surprised for 38 points if you had to use both hull zones. We've got Wallach's Blissix. So when you activate, you may discard this card to recover one of your discarded defense tokens. So when you start getting hammered, if you have to spend a token, discard one, then you can get it back. Also quite good for going up against the ion cannon that we talked about in the Imperial set, where it makes you discard a defense token. If you've got Wallach's on board, you can just get it straight back. We've got the Wing Commander card, which we saw in the Imperial pack as well. Before you reveal a command, you can change it to a squadron. We have the Navigation Officer card. Before you reveal a command, you can change it to a navigate. The Support Officer, that you can discard all of your command dials. We also have this one here, Projection Experts, that when you perform an engineering command, you can spend up to 2 engineering points to move that many shields from your ship to a friendly ship at distance 1 to 5. And when you look at the amount of shields that the MC80 has, it's got 4 on the front, 4 on the sides and 3 on the back, it could very easily play the role of a support ship to something like, say, assault frigates. Just sitting behind them, taking engineering commands and just passing on shields to them. We have Cluster Bombs, which is a defensive retrofit where you can, when you're attacked by a squadron, you can roll 4 blue dice. And because it's not an attack, it's just a standard, it's just an effect. You can't actually use defense tokens against it, so it could be quite powerful against heroes. But the loss of a defensive slot over something like ECM or advanced projectors is going to be pretty hard to justify, I think. We have the Q7 tractor beam, which I think we're going to see quite a bit of play. It is an offensive slot though, so obviously only the command cruiser with its offensive slot can take it. We have boosted comms, which is another one that the command cruiser might look at taking, with its higher squadron value of 4. Notice that because there's only 1 offensive slot on the command cruiser, we won't be seeing any combos like you could do on Imperial 1 where you get expanded hangars and boosted comms. We have slaved turrets, where you cannot attack more than once a round, but when attacking a ship add a red dice. As I mentioned, I don't like the idea of restricting a ship to not being able to attack twice during the game, so I'm not a big fan of this one, but I could see potential for using it on something like, say, a Nebulon B, where you only really want to keep your front arc facing the enemy anyway. And we get SW7 ion batteries. So when attacking a ship, each unspent blue accuracy adds 1 damage to the damage total. So when you're rolling, particularly something like the command cruiser here, these 3 blue dice out the sides, having those extra accuracies there, you could actually look at doing something with them. Then we get on to the actual titles. And we have Home 1. When another friendly ship at distance 1 to 5 is attacking, it may change a dice with a face, a dice to a face with an accuracy icon. So Home 1 is actually going to be really good against any kind of ship that is rolling black or red dice or blue dice, because if you roll any blanks on your reds, you can at least change them to accuracies. And if you coupled that, then I was going to say if you coupled it with your ion batteries, though any blue accuracies you roll, you could also they'll add damage. So if you end up with, say you had some blank red dice, you change them to accuracies, and you rolled a couple of blue accuracies, well, you use your red accuracies to lock down their tokens, and then your blue accuracies that you rolled naturally would count as damage. We have Independence. Each squadron you activate may increase its speed to 4 until the end of the activation. Squadrons that change speed in this way cannot attack this activation. Well, Independence with B-Wings? I think we just found a way to get around their speed 2 limitation, and we put Independence with, the MC80 command cruiser with expanded hangars and send 5 squadrons of B-Wings out. That's pretty nasty. Or even 4 squadrons with a long-range activation. Again, really nasty. And the last upgrade card is Defiance. When attacking a ship that is already activated this round, add 1 die of any colour to your attack pool. And the Rebels, we've seen in the past waves that the ships are usually a bit cheaper, so it's not unusual for the Rebels to have particularly put more ships on the board than the Imperials. But also, the Rebels in Wave 1, at least I feel in the core in Wave 1, they really had to play their objectives well, and that meant usually having to make an initiative bid to sort of be second player, in which case there's going to be an Imperial ship moving first. And it'll be interesting to see whether this changes in Wave 2, but this card, Defiance, certainly means if you want to play your mission, you're willing to go second player, then if something moves in your range, you're going to hammer it with an extra attack dice of any colour. So you could go and add your nice black attack dice in there if you wanted. So, yeah. In all, some really good upgrades. It seems like quite a competent ship, particularly if you play it in a support role to back up something else. I'm not sure how well it would play as like a frontline combat ship. But then you go sort of, well, for over 100 points, is that too much for a support ship? Well, we'll find out. We'll be taking it out for a spin today. I'll let you guys know how we go. Catch you later. Thanks for watching.